In the last chapter, Oda gave us interesting information, but as usual the reveal is raising even more questions than before, and due to that we have a lot to analyze, so let's start. I did check 3 translations just to be sure I'm getting things right. At first look at what Hiyori said, it seemed that Oden was the one who did wound Kaido. But is that the case? Since Oden is dead, it would not cause any problem for Oda going forward in the story, so it is possible that Oden was the one who did wound Kaido. And if that is the case, then Oden joins the elite group of legendary monsters in One Piece. The fact that Kaido has only one scar even though he has fought in many battles, and that scar was inflicted by Oden, this is beyond impressive. We don't know for sure, but it is very likely that Kaido has fought Roger, Garp, Whitebeard, Big Mom, etc. And the only one that did wound him was Oden. This is very impressive. But I'm not sure that is the case. Hiyori said that this sword was passed down to her. Since this sword is legendary, it is very likely that it is very old, and it is passed down through generations. I have a theory that I made a long time ago about Kaido being very old. On him it was performed the ageless operation by the user of the Ope Ope no Mi. If you want to watch that theory, the link is in the description. And it could be that someone in the distant past did wound Kaido with that sword. If Oden was able to wound Kaido when he came in Wano, then how come the samurais did lose the war? It is surely not due to Orochi being too strong. Based on what we know, Orochi did use some dirty tricks to deceive Oden, and then he was captured and executed. So I don't think there was a battle between Oden and Kaido or Orochi. The other possibility is that maybe Oden did give his sword to Roger or Whitebeard when he was traveling with them to fight Kaido, since this is a sword that can harm Kaido. And one of them did inflict that wound on Kaido. Another question is, why this sword is able to harm Kaido? What's the deal here? Well, a while ago I made 2 theories that make a lot of sense about why this sword was able to harm Kaido, and I suggest watching those 2 videos. First, watch the video about Haki swords, and then the video about why Kaido seems invincible. In short, the key thing about this matter is Haki, but watch those videos for more details. Hiyori did ask Zoro to give her Shusui in exchange for her father's sword. I don't think Zoro will let go of Shusui for many reasons, and one of those reasons is this panel, where Ryuma says it would be this katana's long-cherished ambition for you to be its master. So yeah, I don't see Zoro handing over the sword. And in that scene between Zoro and Ryuma did say something else to Zoro, but Oda did not show us what it was. And I think he did that because those words will play an important role in the Wano arc. People are thinking that Zoro was the one who did steal the sword, and it is really hard to prove it otherwise. But I think Ryuma was aware that Zoro will face this problem. Since Shusui is the national treasure of Wano, a lot of people will recognize the sword. So I think Ryuma told something to Zoro that only Ryuma would know or say, or a secret that only a select group of people in Wano would know, that is passed down through generations. And thus proving that Zoro did talk to Ryuma and he did approve Zoro as the master of the sword. But if Zoro is not going to use the sword Enma against Kaido, then why did Oden even bring this up? Well, my theory is that Luffy will be the one who will use Enma. We saw at the beginning of the arc how big the power gap is between Luffy and Kaido, and Luffy will need a lot to be able to stand his ground against Kaido and defeat him. I don't think Luffy will have a sword fight with Kaido, but he will use this sword together with his fighting style. Luffy's attacks are punches and kicks, but knowing how strong Kaido is, I don't think he will be able to penetrate Kaido's defenses. And this is where the sword will come into play. That is how he will be able to harm Kaido. Kaido is Luffy's opponent. In order for Luffy to be the Pirate King, he needs to prove his strength against the Yonkos. And also at the beginning of the arc, Luffy did show interest in swords, and took that sword willingly, and even did use it in a fight. But in his own way, of course. But Zoro will teach him a thing or two on how to use a sword in a fight. Thanks for watching.